It's official. Anthem Next, Bioware's much-anticipated revamp for Anthem, is dead. Executive producer Christian Dailey recently broke the news and revealed that the events of last year impacted the developer's productivity. As such, resources will be going towards the next Mass Effect. Anthem services will remain online for the time being, even if the player base is beyond dead. There's a lot you could say about this. For many fans, it felt like an inevitability. Anthem was a fundamentally flawed game at launch, from its storytelling, loot, and combat to its lackluster endgame and multiplayer. Before we go ahead, please consider subscribing to our channel. We upload new videos every single day, and your support really helps us out. With that out of the way, let's start. Despite being shifted to Bioware Austin, which has done very well with improving Star Wars: The Old Republic over the years, the Anthem Next team was only composed of some 30 people. A report by Bloomberg's Jason Schreier indicated that overhauling the project and adding new content would require a team 3 times that size. EA clearly decided it wasn't worth the cost. However, this feels like the latest in a long line of failures for Electronic Arts' live service model. The publisher got off to a rocky start, and that's being kind, with Star Wars Battlefront 2 in 2017. Though things would improve for it in 2018 and beyond, Battlefield 5 would then face backlash for the lack of content at launch, delay for modes like Firestorm, questionable balance changes, and yes, halting further development to work on its next project. Anthem would release in February 2019 and further salt the earth. Flawed launch aside, all kinds of new features and story content on its content roadmap were subsequently pulled. The game then shifted to a seasonal approach with updates like the Cataclysm, which was also a far cry from the E3 2017 reveal. For many people, this feels like the epitome of live service gone wrong. Promise the moon before launch, provide a roadmap to assuage fans, and then subsequently renege on everything. For Bioware itself, however, this feels like a long time coming. The studio has been struggling with issues like crunch and poor management decisions, relying on the now routinely mocked Bioware magic to get things done. This overall style of thinking could be seen impeding their previous games. Anthem was the breaking point though. It began development in 2012 as Dylan and floundered for years until properly beginning development in 2017. Taking everything together, Bioware's credibility as a studio should be at its lowest. Of course, the operative word is should. Following Anthem's release, Bioware has been steadily working towards other efforts like the next Mass Effect. There's also Mass Effect Legendary Edition, a long-requested remaster trilogy, which will likely serve to ease new fans into the franchise for the upcoming sequel while reconciling with older fans. The departure of studio general manager Casey Hudson, known for his work on the Mass Effect trilogy, and executive producer Mark Dara, along with the promotion of Dailey, indicates a more forward-thinking direction for the company. After all, if Dailey and his team were doing good work on Anthem Next, why not allocate those resources and talent to a future project, that too one with a more positive outlook? From EA's perspective, the next Mass Effect is going to be a much bigger deal than Anthem in the coming years. Of course, there's another dimension to all of this. It's hard to believe that EA will simply give up on implementing some kind of live service strategy. If nothing else, we may get a separate multiplayer mode with microtransactions and free updates. After all, this was a huge success for Mass Effect 3, even if the same formula didn't pan out for Andromeda. To that end, it makes sense for EA to focus on a live service project with more brand recognition than to try and revive what's essentially a dead IP. At this point, it's just a matter of how these elements will work and to what extent the publisher can monetize them more than anything else. In terms of lessons learned, Anthem has undoubtedly been a mixed bag for EA. While it didn't reach the original sales projection of 6 million units sold by the end of March 2019, it still generated over $100 million digital revenue in its launch month. Whether this could be attributed to the hype and marketing surrounding it, the appeal of the live service looter shooter, Bioware's name still holding some weight, or all three is up for debate. At this point, the Bioware of Baldur's Gate and Mass Effect fame is long gone, whether it's the talent and founders who helped put it on the map or the individuals who had a hand in some of the biggest titles. You could lament the Bioware of old and how it will never return. However, with the moves that have been made over the past several months, coupled with a renewed focus on its best IPs, Bioware is seemingly moving away from the pall that's shadowed it since the days of Mass Effect Andromeda. We'll never know what's going on internally, how many iterations Mass Effect 4 had to go through before being greenlit. We may never know the extent to which EA is now involved with Bioware, especially following Anthem's failure, and whether it has any checks and balances in place to prevent the same mistakes. But for those who aren't sure whether to trust Bioware, EA, or either going forward, there are plenty of good reasons. Despite what seems to be big changes at the studio, it's still without a general manager. Gary McKay is currently acting as interim GM. EA's Chief Studios Officer Laura Mael said the search was underway back in December, but there has been no update since. Those who purchased Anthem for full price at launch won't be compensated for its terrible launch. There may be hype for the next Mass Effect, but we've seen no gameplay, and given that Anthem's initial demo was largely faked, one couldn't be blamed for not believing everything they see. Anthem Next may be dead, but Bioware will still live on for the foreseeable future. Whether it can live up to its past legacy, forge a new one, or regress to its old ways remains to be seen. But the studio has its work cut out for it, and the toughest challenges are still ahead. And that brings us to the end of the video. A quick request before we conclude. We upload new videos every single day, and if you like what we are doing, please consider subscribing. It really helps us out. Also, do not forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon so you can receive daily video updates. Thanks for watching.